Hey guys, welcome to the Wedding Vendors Happy Hour with your hosts, Derek and Jade.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in and welcome to episode number 16 of the Wedding Vendors Happy Hour. Again, my name is Derek with DP Films Productions.
My name is Jade with Just As Promised Events. Today we chat with Des, owner of Bessy the Foto Bus and Pearl the Foto Camper. Super cute photo booths inside of modernized vintage vehicles.
That's right. This is going to be one fun episode. So grab a drink, take a seat, and let's get to it. Hey, what's going on, Dev? Thanks for taking the time to be on our show.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Yeah, the last time we spoke, you mentioned that you were boating up in the Channel Islands. How is it? I bet you're having a blast out of the COVID cities.
I am. It's actually probably the best way to be socially distanced from everybody.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, on our boat. So, no, it's great. It's great. It's a lot of fun. It's a nice little vacation.
That's so cool. So, like, yeah. Here, what about? I just came up with an idea. Bessy the Foto Boat.
Bessy the Foto Boat. That would be rad if I had weddings on the ocean.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding. That'd be so cool.
A great idea. I like it.
That'd be awesome. Like Memorial Day weekend and stuff. You go out there and take out the boat. That would be the hit right there.
Totally. Just I could go up to other people's boat with the photo booth and just
yeah.
I love it.
That'd be awesome.
Great idea.
Yep. So for the sake of the show, we always like to start off by you letting the listeners know who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it. Go for it.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm Des. I am the owner of Bessy the Foto Bus and Pearl the Foto Camper. They are both photo booths that are built inside of vintage vehicles. Bessy the Foto Bus is a 1966 VW bus, and Pearl is a 1953 little vintage Can-Ham trailer that I've restored both of them and built a photo booth inside. And I have been in business since 2014 now. So it's been a few years.
Awesome.
That's so cool. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, I've seen your booth and they're amazing.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. So how did you can you just tell us your journey of creating Bessy the Photo Booth and Pearl? Like, how did you get started and what made you want to get into the photo booth side of things?
Okay. So Bessy was my first booth, and Bessy actually, the Volkswagen bus, was given to me for my 40th birthday from my husband as a birthday gift. And the outside was restored on her, but the inside was completely empty. So I started to restore the inside of it and build it out to what I wanted. But unfortunately, I wasn't coming up with parts quick enough to restore her back to a camper, which is the type of Volkswagen bus that she is. And I got this idea one day because I used to do photography, and I absolutely love photo booths. I've been obsessed with them since I was a kid, that I would combine the two. And I was learning a little bit about carpentry, so I built the photo booth inside of Bessy just so I could have a traveling photo booth.
So cool.
That's how Bessy... Yeah, no, it was really cool. And Bessy came about that way. And then Pearl, the vintage camper, I happened to find behind a restaurant in Cayucas. This lady had dragged it home from the valley, and her husband was like, I can't believe she brought home this vintage trailer that needs so much work.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'll buy it.
There you go.
And so the lady sold it to me for $500.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. And then I spent literally a year and a half gutting from the inside out because there was a lot of water damage. Because it's a trailer that was built in 1954. You know, it's pretty old. And it's seen some better days. It was actually sitting on a duck blind in the middle of California for probably 30 years.
Whoa.
So after I got it home, I gutted it and once again restored the inside, built bench seats, and built another photo booth inside of her. Also, and the thing with Bessy and Pearl, those are actually both people I knew. So the booths are named after my great-grandmother-in-law and her best friend, Pearl. So that's where the names came from.
Oh, that's so cool.
So they're actually named after real people. So it was kind of neat. I was like, oh, because Bessy and Pearl were these like elderly ladies who used to travel all over the world together until in their 90s when they passed away.
Oh.
That was where the names came from.
Yeah, that's so cool because I've noticed that with your booths, you have like this really particular style. And when you mention it, like, you know, these rockin' ladies just driving forever, I think that's where you get the style. That's pretty cool. It reminds me of like a I don't know, like a modern, but yeah, like retro style.
It's retro modern is what it is.
There it is.
Yeah, well, I like all things vintage. I mean, I actually own a couple of restored Volkswagens, all from the early 60s. So Pearl actually is going to start being towed by a 1960 Volkswagen single cab, which is a truck.
That's so cool.
So that's what's going to be pulling that booth.
That's so gnarly. Yeah, so this has been like, before the booths, this like retro style things have been like your style and passion way back. And you just brought it into the industry.
I pretty much incorporated them into a business because before owning the Volkswagens, I actually own and collect vintage Vespa scooters too.
Oh, dang.
So, yes, I like all things vintage.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I really like that too, because when you're in the business, in the wedding industry or any kind of passion, when it's something that you truly love and it's like really a style that you own, then it really displays to the clients. And I like that.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And even though they're vintage vehicles, everything in them is modern. And so it's nice because everything works like it's supposed to because it's modern.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding. So I wanted to ask, like, so do you get down and dirty and like scrape out those cars and like put all the photo booth in there? Oh, dang.
I do. No, actually, I am the mechanic for all of my Volkswagens. I know how to work on everything. I've actually had things break in the bus on the way because I drive Bessy the Foto bus to every event. Mm-hmm. So if I have an event in Santa Barbara, I actually drive it to Santa Barbara.
That's so cool.
And I've had occasions where there has been a breakdown. I broke a clutch cable and had to change it on the side of the freeway one day. But I mean, that's part of owning a vintage vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So, yes, I do work on all my vehicles, including Pearl, too. I had to rewire and do all the electricity, so we put a new wiring loom inside so I could actually build the photo booth in there and function.
That's so cool. Yeah.
So we really like both of your photo booths. They're so cute and fun. We've seen Bessy in person, but we haven't seen Pearl yet in person. Mm-hmm. She's so cute. When did you make her? Is she newer?
Pearl was built and finished last year in March.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So, and actually, she's been at a lot of events, a lot of weddings. Usually, though, they've been down in the Los Alamos area and down in Santa Barbara also. So,
nice.
We've only done a couple events up in the 5 cities area.
That's so cool. So, like, is it like a competition between Pearl and Bessy now? Which one gets the most action?
I would say that Bessy probably right now has the most action because she's been around the longest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Pearl is starting to get a lot of bookings because Pearl is a very neutral color.
Yeah.
You know, a nice pearly white, which goes with absolutely every wedding theme.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can incorporate the different colors with it. Where Bessy, you know, she definitely is booked a lot more, but she's teal and white, and so it's not everybody's colors, but she still goes great with any other wedding colors too.
Oh, yeah.
So they're kind of the same, both of them getting booked about the same.
Yeah. That's so cool. I was about to ask, so when you mentioned the color styles, do you think of that when you're creating these things? Like what will actually appeal?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Bessy was the color that she was when I got her, though. She's teal and white.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't repainted her, but I actually am probably going to repaint her next year. Due to, like all vintage vehicles, there's always the threat of rust. Mm-hmm. And she's getting some little itty bitty rust spots on the bottom. And I figure if I'm going to go ahead and sand those off and repair them, that I'm just going to go ahead and paint her the whole entire bus.
Dang.
So she'll get a new paint job next year.
So is she changing colors, or are you sticking with the teal and white?
No, I'm probably actually going to paint her a kind of a more tannish on the bottom and then white on the top.
Oh, cool.
A little bit more neutral colors.
Mm-hmm.
See, yeah, that's super smart. See, I think I see your style. Like your style, I see it's like it could easily be like featured in like all those super nice modern style weddings, and those colors you're choosing like definitely fits those styles. Like even like when I see your booth, I picture like the little donkeys with like the little beers on the side, and it's just really cool.
It's so unique.
Yeah, it's so unique. Exactly.
Quirky.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, they're truly amazing. When you first got into the photo booth game, did you ever consider getting like the normal, typical open air booth, or were you just like,
no,
I'm beyond that?
No, just because I had the bus, and it was all about the bus at first. It was all, what could I do with her, with Bessy? And I actually do also now have an open air booth, but
Nice.
The funny thing is I don't advertise it very much because to me, it's not as fun.
Yeah.
I like having something a little bit more unique and just gives it more personality.
Definitely. Yeah, I could see that for sure. Yeah, that's pretty cool, because you would easily like dominate the photo booth game with your amazing booths, your amazing car booth, and then you'd be like, oh yeah, I got a bunch of little open airs too. Everyone would just flock to you. So that's pretty nice that you're just like not really pushing the open air ones.
No, it's just it's an afterthought for me. It's just not as fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm going to be at the event, I also want to be having fun and feel like fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about being involved and, getting the people going. In a car or a vintage trailer, it's great to start a conversation with people too.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of the allure, is people will always come up, oh my God, what is this? And I'm like, oh, it's a photo booth. Come on in. Let's talk.
Yeah.
It's definitely more of a draw.
Definitely. That's really cool. I really like that. And
Thank you.
Yeah. And that definitely brings me back to my point when it comes to the passion. You really want to put yourself into something you really love. And that's like,
absolutely.
Yeah. I really like that. So what's the big difference between the two? You might have mentioned it, but can you go a little bit more detail?
There is a big difference. It's size. It really has to do with the size. Pearl, because she's a vintage camper, honestly, you could probably fit about 17 people in her.
Whoa, dang.
Yeah, that's actually
What do you think?
it is a lot of people. But the nice thing, because it's essentially it's a camper that was just completely gutted out and just has benches in it anymore. And so you can fit about 17 people in her, but it does take up more room on the outside. Mm-hmm. And, going back to, she's a more neutral color. And so there's more things to do on the outside with Pearl, the photo booth, where Bessy fits inside 4 to 6 people. Maybe that's really pushing it.
Yeah.
But has a much smaller footprint. She doesn't take up as much room and is much, much easier to get into tight places.
Nice.
But still, you can do a lot with the outside of Bessy the Foto Bus too, because I have a lot of brides who now like to have their florist make swags for the outside, for over the doorways and,
mm-hmm.
stuff like that. customizable also.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed different setups where sometimes you have signs on Bessy and sometimes you have like a lounge in front. Is that like all provided by the client, or do you provide some of that stuff?
That's actually my stuff. So
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
that was kind of the thing that I wanted to do with my photo booth also, because my goal is always to fit in with the wedding theme.
Mhm.
You know, I want to blend in as much as I can too, to make it look like it's a natural part of the wedding. And so ahead of time, I usually talk to the couple and figure out, okay, what colors are you going to have? What style are you going with? You know, do you want a lot of flowers? Are you doing just greenery? And that way we can incorporate it to the outside of the booth to make it just go with the rest of the wedding, the rest of the vibe. So
That's so cool.
I have lots of knickknacks.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's so cool that you actually provide all that. So you're giving the client like a full-on experience and theme. It's not just like someone setting up an open air booth and some props and like, all right, and maybe a background and like, there you go. You know, you jump in when you want.
No, I want it to be much more in with the wedding. Like I said, I'd prefer to be part of the wedding instead of just this, oh, look, there's that thing over in the corner.
Right. Yeah.
What is
Yeah,
that mean?
it's got to, I'm all about pretty too. I do. I like pretty. I like the wedding. So I want to be part of the wedding.
Yeah, exactly. And that brings me back to what I was saying again, like your style is so unique, but also brilliant. And I feel like you know exactly what you're doing when it comes to like the marketing side of things, your style, your props, your colors you're going for. I mean, you're a pro. I see it. Definitely.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time thinking about events.
Yeah, I bet. So by doing all these events and, you know, creating your booth and, you know, evolving as the years go on, have you noticed a different kind of clientele you've been getting since you started to now?
You know, it's really weird. No, my clientele's always been kind of the same. Demographic wise, it hasn't changed much because honestly, I didn't realize this, but I'm compared to other photo booths in different parts of California who do the same services as mine. I'm actually a little bit more reasonably priced for what you get. Mm-hmm. And I did not realize that for the longest time. And I'm okay with that too. I want to be reasonable. I want people to be able to afford to have the best of what they can for their wedding. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that it should, you know, be an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
And so from the get-go, I've always kind of had these really nice clients and it's been awesome. And I do a lot of corporate events too. That's so cool. So I've had a lot of really like neat corporate clients too.
That's so cool. Yeah.
But it hasn't changed.
That's so cool. Yeah. I would always think like you'd get like a lot of cool bohemian style weddings, like modern style, like cool kids.
Do you get a big difference between Bessy and Pearl, like in the style of weddings?
There you go. Yeah.
Yes and no. I know that with Pearl, I have noticed it is definitely a more rustic type. People like to have rustic weddings. Because it's a camper, it's kind of like, oh, look, it's kind of camping theme. So Pearl kind of fits in that. But the Bessy the Foto bus, definitely we have a lot of bohemian brides.
Nice. Okay. That's so cool. Definitely. I really like that a lot. Is there a difference between props when you use that? Different? Because I would, or is it the prop, no matter what booth they get, they're going to get the same props for each one?
So I have two sets and they're identical to both vehicles. But I, ahead of time, go through and talk to my clients about what kind of props they want. Because sometimes people really want a lot of props, which I have. And then some people are like, no, just give us a couple chalkboard signs. So like I said before, in my consultation, when I talk with clients, I'm like, okay, so what do you want? Like currently with the COVID outbreak, we're not doing props. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, it's just not for the time being. people are sticking with, I have a couple of hand signs that they can use that have cute little sayings on them, and then they get sanitized. Everything's always gotten sanitized anyways, but it's just down to a dull roar for right now. Mm-hmm. So I always like to talk to the clients first, though, and see how they feel about props. Because some people are not really silly people. Some people are a little more serious.
Yeah, right. It's true.
And you want to go with what the bride and the groom or whatever the couple wants, so it fits in and feels comfortable to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. So for the prints side of things, can yours do like the postcard kind and the strips too?
Yes.
That's so cool.
So we can do postcards. We can do the 2 strips. I've now had a lot of clients who just are opting for an online gallery too, because we do online galleries for up to a year with any of the photo booth packages now. Everything gets uploaded to a cloud, and clients have the option of just getting those if they want just those too at a discount to the package. So yeah, we've got something for everybody.
Nice. So I just want to go back into the thing when you talked about pricing, without like bringing up package pricing, but because that's a really big subject in this the wedding industry, and it's like kind of like a little gray areas. Do you because you mentioned before that you found out that you were actually a little lower than what other people were charging. Did you think about moving up, or were you always considering, I'm going to stick where I am to fit into my what do you call it? The county's area, like budget area, or?
So over time I have raised my prices, but it has nothing to do to be competitive, with the other photo booths like mine in this area. It has to do with every year doing a small increase to cover costs and just figuring it out. But I've never really raised my price very much from the beginning. Mm-hmm. I only do a percentage each year at the beginning of the year.
That's smart. That's really cool. Just to cover like whatever new things you add or whatnot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's smart. That's really cool. Yeah, that's a big topic to everyone. Everyone's always like, should I move up every month or every year, or should I be lowering them or upping them? You never know. It's like, oh, geez.
No, because you know what? In all reality, I believe that you can't also be super cheap, because that also brings down the value for everybody in our industry.
Exactly.
So, you want to keep it up to a rate that everybody else is at or near. This is just my personal opinion, because you don't want to lowball stuff, because then eventually that's what people expect.
Yep.
And it makes it hard on absolutely everybody in the industry.
It does.
And you can't have that. We all need to work together and, make a living.
Yeah, for real. This isn't a hobby for us.
Yeah, it's not. And so when you undersell things dramatically, it's what people get used to, and it is no fair for anybody, because as a vendor, you would feel, oh my gosh, I'm giving them this great deal, and kind of not be happy about it. And then the other people who also offer that are like, I can't compete with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
Do you believe
I've raised my prices slightly?
Nice.
Go ahead.
Do you believe where people say, if you kind of put yourself, like your stuff is like cream of the crop. When I looked at your stuff, I thought your stuff would be like it was super expensive. But do you feel like couples feel like if you're a lower price, they just, even if the stuff you have now, if you're a lower price, they're just like, oh, like you said, it's not big value, but if you raised it more, they see it as a greater value?
Possibly, but I don't know exactly how to answer that question, because like I said, I'm not that much under everybody else. I'm really not. Mm-hmm. But it kind of, I hate saying this, looking at my husband's business, he has also been in business. He's self-employed for a really, really long time. And from his standpoint, he's like, yeah, you can raise it high, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the value is any higher. You're still giving a very good price at a valuable price, at a reasonable price, so everybody can afford you.
That's smart. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. Wise
Yeah,
man.
because I want everybody to be able to afford it. And I still make money. That's
Definitely.
the thing. I'm not out to, gouge the world. I'm out there to make a living, make people's weddings or events better, fun, and reasonable.
That's what it's all about. Bessy the Photo Booth, bringing that party.
Yeah.
Hey, before we move on to the next couple of questions, we just want to take a quick break.
Welcome back, guys. We're still here with Des with Bessy the Photo Bus. So, Des, do you notice a big difference between, like, say, weddings and other corporate events as far as the photo booth usage goes?
Yes, there definitely is. There's a lot more usage of the booth at weddings
Yeah.
than corporate events.
It's just like the
But I also think I think it has to do with some of the other factors, though, that are going along with the wedding, where, everybody's happy and celebrating. And corporate events sometimes can be a little more stuffy,
Right.
Yeah.
and not as fun as a wedding per se. So, yeah, I definitely notice a difference.
That's so cool. So, like, when did you started getting into events, or was it events first, then weddings? How'd that go?
You know what? It was both at the same time.
Oh, whoa.
The very first thing I did when I started my business was on Instagram, and then also on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
I have a profile up on LinkedIn, and a majority of my corporate clients found me on LinkedIn. The very first corporate job that I did was for a shoe company, Decker Shoes, down in Santa Barbara. They're a corporate event, and oh god, it was a blast. It was just,
That's so cool.
I was so hooked on using my photo booth after that. And then I think the next weekend I had another wedding, and so they kind of both just came at the same time.
That's so
Awesome.
cool. Yeah.
I've seen, I think you've done like yoga festivals and other stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
How are those ones?
I have never ever been to an event or party that I didn't like. That's just me. I've always loved parties, events. Yoga Fest out at the Avila Beach Golf Resort was so fun. It's such a good vibe, and it just a lot of fun people.
Yeah.
I do a lot of stuff for the Avila Beach Golf Resort.
Uh-huh.
That's so cool.
I have the photo booth for most of their events and concerts out there, and I love it because it's just all kinds of different people.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot of fun.
I bet your networking games through the roof. You got everyone.
That'd be so
What's
interesting,
funny
meeting
is
all kinds of people.
Yeah.
I talk to anybody. I've never met a stranger.
Uh-huh. I love that.
So
No one's a stranger to you.
Nobody's a stranger to me. I talk to everybody, and I talk about my business, and I talk about their business, and what's important to them. And
That's so cool.
so yeah, I enjoy it. I guess you would call that networking, huh? I just
It's just
consider
natural.
that normal for me.
That's so cool. So were you going back when you first started, were you always super just energetic and always, down with the flow, talking to anyone, or did you had to bring yourself up to that level?
No, I've always been like that.
That's so cool.
I really have, and I think that it's made it very, very helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I love to engage with people. I always have. That kind of stems back to my photography days of just having to engage with people a lot. And I really do. I enjoy meeting and talking to new people. So the photo booth is actually a perfect avenue for that, because people were like, hey, what is that? And I'm like, hey, come on over and check it out. Let's talk.
Yeah, that's so rad. And I know you mentioned a little bit about your photography, but the photography, that's super cool. You mentioned you did it for surfing and Billabong. Those are big companies. That's amazing.
Uh-huh.
So why did you transition from photography into the photo booth? How'd that transition happen?
Well, there was a couple things that happened. Besides doing surf photography, I actually did live music photography for years too.
Whoa.
Cool.
For a bunch of different music venues in the area. And just kind of getting older, my kids were getting older. I needed to spend a little bit more time at home, not out every weekend and evenings shooting live music and surf on the weekends. And then it was kind of like a sign. I got really bad carpal tunnel, actually, in both of my hands. And I can't hold a camera for long periods of time anymore.
Oh, wow.
So everything literally just kind of came together with getting the VW bus, wanting to move away from weekends and nights all the time, but still wanting to be able to go to events. And my hand's hurting all the time. So it just kind of transitioned into that.
That's so great. Are your hands still kind of hurting? Or are they?
They are. My hands are still pretty painful. I actually was paddleboarding yesterday, and it lasted about 20 minutes before my hands just started aching. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, we're done with that for the day.
Yeah.
But it's okay, because with the photo booth, I just have to set up, you know, and I don't have to hold a camera for hours on end, and I still get to interact with people.
That's so cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's super cool. I bet your kids, they're just like, yeah, you know, our mom's the best. You got the awesome booth, and they probably love it.
No, my kids, you know what? One of my daughters does. My daughter that still lives in the area, she will help me if I have both booths running. She'll usually help with one, and then I'll run the other one.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
That's super cool. So now that you mentioned that, like, do you book both booths, Bessy and Pearl, on the same day, like for different events?
Absolutely.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've found that a lot of the venues are really great. I've worked at them enough times that I will go leave one booth there the day before and then go the next day with the other booth to the other venue. My husband, a lot of times, will book, or my husband will drop off stuff for me also. Mm-hmm. And then I just have a staff member, which is either a family member or a friend nice. That I've trained, work one and I work the other.
Super smart. That's really cool. That's awesome. That sounds like a lot of work, but I'm glad you got that down. That's cool.
It's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I bet. My goodness. So we got to jump into the bummer COVID questions.
Oh.
So moving forward, I know you kind of went into a little bit, but how are you going to be approaching now with, I'm pretty sure you're probably getting hammered a lot by, or maybe not, from clients asking, you know, what procedures are you taking, since yours is an indoors booth, and like how?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How's that going to?
So there's a couple different scenarios that I go through with clients. A couple different scenarios I go through. So both photo booths actually can be removed from inside the vehicles, and the vehicles themselves can be props.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
That's, yeah, as strange as it sounds, the front end of the VW bus photo booth, it's so cute as a backdrop. So we do that. And then with Pearl, we can also do the little lounge area outside. And it's actually more like a portrait session instead of a photo booth session, but you're still using the photo booth.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's one option that I have a couple clients doing, and they love it because it's outside.
Yeah.
Also, I have now purchased, I have automatic hand sanitizer stations, too, for both inside and outside of both the booths. Taking temperatures of clients, which we'll see how well that goes over. Not everybody's a fan of it, but for safety purposes and, you know, wanting to do business in San Luis Obispo County, I have to adhere to these things.
Yeah. No, that's super smart, because I was curious and asking Jade, because, you know, she's a wedding planner and she speaks with a lot of the venue managers. if venue managers were going to have like, their security guards do temperature checks, but that's really smart that you're doing it. And I feel like it'll make people, reassure that they're safe.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And like I said previous too, we really did slim down props, because props, I don't want to even have the thought of somebody potentially, holding a prop, putting it up to their face or putting it on their head or glasses, and then, putting it down and somehow not getting sanitized and somebody else getting something. So we've limited the props to a very, very small amount for the time being, and everything goes directly into a bucket that gets sanitized and then hung back up.
That's super smart. So that you have like a dirty bucket where they put like their used prop real quick, and you're just like, scrub it down, and then you put it back up, and then people are like, that's smart. That's smart. That's really smart.
Here's the thing. I've always done that. Even before this, people have always kind of laughed. I have more pictures of people with hand sanitizer bottles in the pictures and Lysol bottles. And I had one guy who did a whole series of himself with all different hand sanitizing bottles.
Dang, you were already prepared for this COVID.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm a germaphobe. Not a lot of people know that about me, but I'm really a germaphobe.
No, but that's really cool.
And my husband's like, of all businesses you want to go into, you want to go into a business where people are going to constantly be putting their hands on stuff.
No kidding. That's funny. That's really cool. I wanted to go back into the booth. I didn't know it was transformable. Like the booth part could come out. That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes. So I built them both. I built them inside of the vehicles, but made it so they can be pulled out of the vehicles.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because like the other day, I wanted to take my bus and just go for a drive, and so I just took everything out of it and went for a drive.
Nice.
That's so cool. That's a brilliant mind right there. Just like, I want to create a photo booth, but also where things could come out. And
oh yeah,
that's so cool. So, do you have any kind of like crazy stories or anything memorable you could bring up? Fun story time.
Maybe 16 people fitting in the bus.
Well, I could tell you a story about a fraternity and why I have a new back seat now.
Whoa.
I have a brand new reupholstered back seat.
Jeez.
That depends. Who's going to be listening to this?
just your friend, people 18 and up. Or if there's another story.
No. This isn't that bad. I had a fraternity event a couple years ago. It was the first fraternity event I had taken, because I was a little leery. I won't lie. I'm like, I just don't know if I want to do this drunk fraternity, but I took it. And they were actually really wonderful. Oh my gosh. All the guys in the fraternity were wonderful. It came towards the end of the night. This one couple comes up, and I'm looking at the young lady, and I said, she looks like she's a little bit too intoxicated. I don't really want her in the booth. I think that it would not be a very good idea.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend's like, no, she's fine. And she looks at me and she sobers up for a second. She says, okay, I'm fine. I said, okay. I said, just be careful.
Yeah.
They get in the booth, close the door, and a little bit of time goes by. And I'm like, what's going on? Oh, goodness. What's that? Oh, no, what's that smell? And I pull the drape back, and she has thrown up all over her date, all over the backdrop, all over the seat, all over the floor.
Jeez.
And I am standing there, and I'm looking at them, and the poor kid is like, it's okay, I got her. And like ninjas, all of a sudden there were like these 4 guys with paper towels and sanitizer, and they just appeared out of nowhere, and they ushered the girl out of the bus, and they're cleaning it up, and they're like, okay, we'll pay for this, no big deal, And as I'm standing there talking to them, though, I look down, and out of the corner of my eye, I see somebody's hand going by me, and they're picking up the photo strips that are on the ground in the bus. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, can I have those? And I pick them up, and it is scene for scene of the accident.
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
The camera had started. And yes, there's the first, they're very lovingly kissing each other. The second one is projectile vomiting. The third is him cleaning it up. And the fourth is her crying.
oh my God.
Oh,
Yeah.
poor thing.
So it was, needless to say, it was pretty interesting. And come to find out, that was legendary because 2 years later, I was at a different Cal Poly event, and the organizer of the previous said event came up and he gave me a big hug. He's like, are you still mad at me? He remembered me because the next morning after the event, I had to try and clean up the mess, and I ended up having to have the whole seat reupholstered.
Dang.
Yeah. So that's my one. That's a gross story.
That's so funny. I just pictured the whole thing.
Did you have to like air it out for a week or so?
Oh yeah. No, I had to literally for the next week, I took everything out of it. Everything had to be taken out. The seat had to be taken out and reupholstered. The backdrop was thrown away. The flooring was actually taken out of the bus.
Wow.
It was a big ordeal. And that's also why after that I was just very like, if it's a fraternity event, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that was the last, first and last. One and done.
One and done. I'm good. So, and there's other ones, but we won't go into that.
That's so crazy. That was amazing. That's nasty.
Gross but amazing.
Yeah, that's so cool. Hey, Dad, we had so much fun learning about your journey and your crazy stories and, how you're moving forward in the future. This has been great. We've had a blast.
Well, thank you. I did too. It was great to talk to you guys today.
Yeah. And before we let you go, where can people find you at? Website, social media?
Our website is www.bessythefotobus.com. And on Instagram, we're Bessy the Photo Bus on there too. You can find us on both places.
Perfect.
Super easy. So anyone looking for an amazing photo bus, Bessy is where it's at. All right, Des, we'll let you go. You enjoy those Channel Islands and your nice boat cruising.
All right. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Guys, what an awesome episode. Des was super nice, and it was really cool hearing the story behind Bessy and Pearl.
Yeah, it's so cool how she combined her love for photography, vintage vehicles, carpentry, and events into what it is today. Bessy the Photo Bus and Pearl the Photo Camper.
Yeah, I love those names. Also, it comes to show if you've got the skills and the passion, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
As always, guys, thanks again for tuning in to the Wedding Vendors Happy Hour. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to hear from more amazing wedding professionals. Till then, we'll catch you on episode number 17.